Hi everybody, Michelle Desitel here from Coldwell Banker, Hickok and Boardman Realty. I want to talk about step 5 in the home buying process. You will see steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 videos in this link. You just have to scroll through. They're kind of out of order. But this is step 5, which is the hurry up and wait process. We've already put the house under contract that we found and love, and now we go through all the steps of hurrying up and waiting. I have my little cheat sheet here because I don't want to miss anything, but so the house is under deposit. So within some offers want it right away, or some sellers want it right away, but within 5 business days, typically we get the deposit check or earnest money to the seller. It's typically held at the listing agent's office in escrow until closing. And what happens, which is kind of interesting with that money, as it sits there and accumulates interest, that little bit of interest that it accumulates goes into a fund in Vermont, which helps lower income folks get into housing, which is kind of cool. Second, you will need to get your property inspector on the books within a couple of days, because you literally have about 10 to 14 days to have the property inspected, finished, negotiated, everything done within 10 to 14 days of the actual contract date. The contract date is the date that's stated on the bottom of your contract, and that's what everything revolves from. So you want to make sure that you get that right away, and your realtor should have some suggestions for good inspectors that they have worked with. In addition, you're going to receive the seller's property information report. If you didn't already, you have about 14 days to review that and make sure that everything on it is up to your liking. Again, normally you get it prior to making an offer, but just in case, you want to make sure you have that. You want to have your mortgage application submitted within 5 days of the contract date. This is very important and could really slow things down if you don't. The mortgage is the slowest portion of what gets you to the closing table, primarily because of, the appraisers and whatnot, and the underwriters and things like that. Not the appraisers, but basically the underwriting. But there's, all the paperwork needs to get in a timely fashion. So it's very important to get your mortgage application started ASAP. Through your structural inspection and safety inspection, you can also have radon tests, you can have your water tested, all these different tests that you can decide if you want them or not, and that will all be in your contract. And your inspector will, advise you with that portion of it. Once your inspection is completed, you can negotiate further with your seller if need be, if the building has issues with it that you were not aware of and need to be addressed. In a perfect world, it's a couple of honeydew things here and there, and you move forward. Your realtor will guide you through that portion of the inspection if there are issues, and advise you on how to proceed. After the inspection is all complete and you're satisfied and you move on, your next step, your bank will, if they didn't already, they will order an appraisal. The appraiser will come out, they'll take measurements, they'll look at the building and decide what the building is worth. Now, if the building is worth less than what you're borrowing, you may have to make up the difference or negotiate further with a seller so that you can get to a price where you can still afford, because the bank will only loan so much, and typically it's close to what the appraisal comes in at. So really you want the appraisal to come in more, or at best what asking price is. It's very important. That's why there's an appraisal contingency in the contract, because if it comes back less and you can't make up the difference, you can exit the contract and get your deposit back. Same with the inspection. If something happens and the seller isn't willing to fix it and you're not willing to budge on it, you can exit the contract. That's part of the contingency, which is a safety net for you. If you're buying a condo, you have to have the fire marshal come in. The seller takes care of this, and they make sure that it's safe and ready for occupancy. And then the last contingency would be your mortgage contingency, and that's typically about a week or two before closing. You find out for sure if your monies are there, and any unforsaken things that might pop up to make your financing not come through, this is your last safety net to allow you to exit the contract and still get your deposit back. Typically, if this does happen, you have 3 days to write the seller and let them know that unfortunately your financing did not come through. You exit the contract and your earnest money deposit is returned. After that, it's just a matter of, about a week before closing, have your utilities changed over into your name. And then a day or day of closing, a day before the day of closing, you do a walkthrough to make sure that nothing has happened to the structure since the last time that you were there, and that you're satisfied that everything's been removed and you're ready for occupancy, basically. And then you go to the closing table. It's really exciting, and I get so excited when we get to the closing table for so many people because it's an amazing feeling. Again, I'm Michelle Desatel. I'm going to leave a link to my website in this video. Thanks so much.